Hello and welcome back to Raise the Vibe with Liz. I'm your host, Liz Peterson, and today I am interviewing Ellyn Katherine Shamalov. So those who aren't familiar with Ellyn, she is a quantum healer, enlightenment mentor, best-selling co-author, and international speaker. Ellyn is here in service to support millions in accelerating their path to open hearts, awakening inner wisdom and divine spark. Ellyn aims to guide those called to move into the highest evolution of growth, allowing them to serve their life's purpose. Her mission is to help uplift the vibration of humanity, reveal spiritual truth, unveil wisdom, and expand global consciousness. Ellyn utilizes her skills to help mission-driven healers and light workers rise up as sovereign leaders and change makers at lightning speed using her channeled healing modality, the Quantum Enlightenment System. In early 2023, Ellyn's life was upended when her partner made the decision to take his life. From despair, grief, guilt, and anger, she found herself immersed in emotional struggles that tested her resolve like never before. Ellyn utilized her own quantum enlightenment system and illuminated years of anguish despite the common belief of grief's never-ending cycle. In this loss, she has been able to claim wisdom and enlightenment and continues to thrive in strength and empowerment. Ellyn's goal is to support others as you embark on your journey by clearing any self-doubt, limiting beliefs, past traumas, generational patterns. In doing so, you will be able to transcend fear, express your authentic inner self, feel liberated and joyful, and step into the realm of living your most authentic expression of your sovereign self. Ellyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Liz.
Thanks for being here. I'm super excited to have you. You actually gave me a session a week or two ago, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I really enjoyed the session, and I'm excited to have you on so I can learn more about it. I felt like that hour was way too short. I had so many questions, so I'm glad you're here to answer the questions. And I'm loving this modality because it made an impact on me, and I've been working on things ever since the session. So for those of you who aren't familiar with you and what you do, explain like what led you to this modality?
Oh gosh, years of working on myself. My husband and I, when I met him, we made a pact that we would always be on this journey together to better ourselves. And all our vacations were actually going to emotional healing retreats instead of, sitting on the beach with a margarita. Um, and so, you know, in between these retreats, we were still looking for ways to heal because I still had a lot of anger that I was processing through that have been suppressed for so many years. And it put our marriage into a very big shamble. Like we were talking about divorce 1 year in. Um, and so that made me look really, really deep within myself to understand where this was coming from. And so many years of work, being exposed to other people's work, being exposed to scientists and what they were teaching and trying all these different things, that I felt like something was missing. And so I just kept looking and looking and looking. And then one day I was in the shower and it was like this missing piece just boom came straight into me. And I had to get out of the shower and put everything together and realize that I was just given this modality, because I'm aware of what modalities are. And I was just given like instructions on what to do and how to do it. And I thought, okay, I need to start working on some people with this.
What were the initial pieces that you got downloaded, Ellyn?
It was just, it was like not prayers, but I guess like requests of what we want to extract, how to be able to find what we're extracting. Because a lot of the times, um, we hear that someone may think that they're not enough, but how did you get to that point? How did you get to the point of realizing that? And then there are other points of limiting beliefs, but there's also deep imprints. So I was given this opportunity to find how to look for the imprints and find the soul blueprint or find what is in the soul blueprint that gives me the answers to help them really dissolve that out of the system. So I was taught to dissolve it out of the system. I was taught that the answer was actually in the body versus the mind, which is the big missing piece that I was not sure about. But this actual modality taught me that's what it was. And that's why I said there was like this missing piece, because I tried the affirmations, I tried positive thinking, I tried to program my mind, I tried the meditations and the binaural beats and blah, blah, blah. And nothing had really taken me to that next level that I was looking to get into. And nothing was raising my vibration substantially for me to say, oh, I can really say that this worked. And so this missing piece made me realize that it's not just the mind, it's actually the body. And so if we're holding everything in the body, it's the body that's signaling everything to the mind, not what they're saying that the mind signals to the body. It's the opposite. And so when I was doing this work, I realized, wow, so first you work on the body, and then you incorporate things in the mind, because the mind will only respond to the body. And so that was the initial piece. And then as I started doing more, I realized we need to upgrade the vessel. And so I learned how to detox the body, and to be able to make the vessel, the body, strong enough to hold the light that was now coming in, to be able, once we remove, we have to replace it. So we replace it with light, and remove all and dissolve all of the limiting belief patterns, the imprints, the emotions. So it was a very big eye-opening program that came to me.
Wow. So, soul blueprint. So, we're born with this soul blueprint. For those listeners who may not know, describe what the soul blueprint is and the purpose that it serves us in our lifetime.
So before we decide to come into an incarnation, right? Our soul, our higher self chooses to have certain experiences, because now what we're meant to do is purify. And in order for us to purify, we need to balance out the karmic situations that happen in past lives. Also be able to learn from that. It's not just like payback. Hey, we're going to make you feel this because it's what you did to somebody else, or vice versa. It's actually balancing it out so that you can learn from it. And the thing that it actually made me realize is that, other people do the readings in the soul blueprint, but what I looked at was the challenges and the soul mission, because those two are the things that we're really here to work on, right? The talents, the gifts, and the goals, those get activated after you walk through the doors of the challenges and the soul mission. And so there are limiting belief patterns that we came in here with that could be imprinted, or something that we came in here with so we can start getting those or manifest it into reality for ourselves, so that we can learn the truth about who we are, and to really just, once it comes to our attention, we really just want to heal it, dissolve it, and then come back to who we truly are as a soul. And so the soul blueprint is the six-pointed star. Some may see it as a Star of David in the 2D, but when you look at it a three-dimensional view, it's the star tetrahedron, your Merkaba.
Yeah. Great. Not only are we like born with that soul blueprint, we're also choosing our birth, our family, our place, and the programming we need to trigger everything that's in our blueprint with those belief systems and that programming, so we can work on them in this life too. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for that's exactly what it does.
I also find that you were saying, it's in the body. And when I'm working on my clients doing my energy healing practice, which is my own modality, I am removing all of those thought forms, all of those belief systems, all of the history, all of the past life that is stored within the physical body. It's so
Yeah.
true. So talk about how your system removes all of those things from the body, so then we can then work with it mentally.
Oh my gosh. So what I love about this is that, first of all I kept hearing was freedom, and ease and acceleration, right? And so what I understood about it was that, number one, it removes it from all lifetimes. And I've seen, I get shocked, even though I know how powerful this program is, I still get shocked every time I work with a client, because I'm seeing how it's really moving out of the body, and the shifts that they start to experience in their own life after the first session, after the second session. And it's just, it's all coming together so nicely. So what I love about it so much is that it really removes it from all timelines. It's not just, you know, the childhood trauma or the inner child's work and whatever. And what they also showed me was that the ease part was, it's not meant to be hard and it's not meant to be painful. And so they were giving me this opportunity to allow people to see a different perspective in healing. And in order for them to be able to remove them all out, they remove it. Each session, it comes out from a different timeline. It's felt in the body and released without the agony of having to go back into it and reliving it in order for them to release it or reprogram it or whatever the situation is. And so the acceleration piece comes from it happening on a quantum level within, 7 days. We do it every week. And so it's just an acceleration for it so that they can just go through it and not have to keep on going through the pain of constantly healing, because eventually you are always healing, but
Mhm.
eventually there comes a point where you need to integrate. And so this work, when it extracts so much, it's time for you now to step into your soul mission. And that alone, brings out a whole new version of you. But then also that version of you might also have some other things that will come up that needs to be looked at, but later, not right away.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense because we are living in accelerated times right now. Everything is going really fast. Gosh, we just came out of the solar eclipse, and the energy of the solar eclipse, it was like everything from the past, whether that be past life or when I was 10 or 20 or 30, whatever, was coming up, and that layer that was presenting itself was ready to go. There was no like holding on to us like, oh, there that is, let me work on it for a little while, but then it's just gone and I'm on to the next thing. Are you finding that this quantum process, because I think that is that, those new dimensions settling in, and the quantum, the way that we're accessing the quantum field now, where it doesn't have to be all of this time spent in healing, where we are able to go, oh, that's up for me today. Let me look at it. And, where does that puzzle piece fit in my life? And release it. And it's all about releasing it and not having to come back to it again. It's like once that part is gone, it's gone. And I'm hearing that, that's what this process is. It's removing those things. And instead of, having to work for months and years on it, it's gone because it's at a quantum level.
Absolutely. And to just bring one more piece to that, it's not something that you even need to think about. That's why during the program, I provide a meditation / activation
Mhm.
that also whatever you're going to bring up throughout the day, it'll just bring it up, remove it, and shift that process for you. So it's easier for you that now you're going through your day and it's not like something's coming up and you're thinking about it, or you're saying, okay, now I can release it. It's already done. It's happened in the session. It's happened in the meditation, and you're done without having to even be concerned about what might come up.
Nice. What are some of the limiting beliefs and programs that can be removed during a session?
Oh, there's so many, and it really depends on the person's soul blueprint. So the way the soul blueprint works is we take your name and we decode it using the Hebrew phonetic. So the Hebrew language is a sacred light language. It was one of the first languages that came to being. And so the 22 alphabets are correlated to the numbers. And so we take that, and once we have the calculations already set, we have your code, your blueprint, right? And your blueprint has so many different codes, which are the fire letters or the Hebrew alphabet. And so with that, we are looking at what code carries what limiting belief patterns. And so there are different ones, some of them which people already may know that, I'm not good enough, I'm trapped in a body, the earth is hostile. Those are just certain ones that are coming up to mind right now, but
Mhm.
it really depends on what codes are in your blueprint that are coming up for you that you are meant to really remove. And a lot of people, I never talk about the limiting beliefs before I put them in the activation chamber, because I've had people say, well, I worked on that and this is not true, and it starts to change something internally for them. So I want them to come into it fully like open and to be able to receive, because once they're connected in the divine activation chamber to their body is going to tell them everything. Their body will start giving them all the clues, and their body's going to start giving them all the information and the answers that they're looking for as soon as we get activated. So there are different types of limiting belief programs.
So after we're activated, is it important for us to know like what those limiting beliefs were that got worked on in the activation process after a session?
Well, you're fully conscious. You're just in a kind of altered state of consciousness, but you are still present and aware of what's happening.
Mhm.
And so you will already know what you are hearing and feeling. And that's the whole process. It's because the reason why I did the High Vibe Life Blueprint call initially was because I've heard a lot of people try to debunk me with, oh, well, it's the mind and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, you know what? I need to show people this is not just the mind, this is the body. So
Mhm.
let's get people into this so they can understand. Now your body's got the answers and you have no control over it. It's your body. And so they are fully aware of what's coming up for the purpose for them to understand whatever you reprogrammed, whatever work you did. I'm sorry, but if it didn't get dissolved out of the body, it's still there. And it's still running your frequency, and it's still manifesting things in your life for that to be fully dissolved.
Right. And we have to remember that whatever our programming was, whatever these beliefs are, they are running our lives. We're not living in the present moment. We're living from the past.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. If you are still having those limiting beliefs, or if you're having a little bit of a limiting belief. So here's a question somebody asked me. One of my clients who did the session with me or did the program with me, we were talking the other day, and she asked me, what if a person does this like new neurological pathway, reprogramming of the mind, right? What happens if they're not thinking anything negative, but they still have a little bit of fear when something comes up,
Mhm.
and they did the work on it? Well, first of all, if that's still coming up, it's still harboring in your body. And the true tale of what it is that you are actually vibrating at is the experiences you are having. If you are having these experiences that are still triggering you and still causing a reaction and still having the low vibration with it, then you are still harboring those low vibratory beliefs and systems in your body.
Mhm.
And so that's already the answer, that whatever neurological pathway you created, it may override some of the other thoughts, but it's not replacing the trauma or event that happened. And so you're still manifesting based on what your body is holding.
Gotcha. So after the initial high vibe blueprint call, what comes next?
So the High Vibe Life Blueprint call is the opportunity for a person to see what the work looks like working with me, so they can experience it for themselves, and also to see what it is that they've done so that they can understand, like, this is actually, you're really holding this on, holding on to this, I should say. So then after that, they have the opportunity to work with me in the Quantum Enlightenment System for the 7-week program, or I'm also hosting a 5-week program that is about their evolutionary path. how do you get into a certain phase in your life to shift your perspective, to be more mindful, to create the space in your life for you to be able to hold the manifestations that you're desiring.
Mhm. So you brought up manifestation, and I'm sure removing all of these speeds up our manifestation process. So dip into the benefits that we get from doing this work.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Well, first of all, it completely changed your vibration. So a lot of the times with manifestation, there's people are not understanding what manifestation really is. And so really, I'm going to tell you it's your vibration, right? If you are wanting something that is not there for you at that moment, remember, we're in the quantum field, right? Everything is already there and we have infinite possibilities. And so current lifestyle or where you are currently is the possibility of where you are. Now, if you want to go to another possibility where whatever it is you want to create is actually visible to you, because that's really what it is. You're not creating anything. It's already there. You just have to make it more visible for you to see. You have to be able to vibrate at that frequency in order for you to see it. And so this work, when you are dissolving all those things that are blocking you from being able to see it, you are then shifting your perspective, vibrating at a higher frequency, and being able to embody more of your divine light so that the manifestations, I always do this, the manifestations are actually there for you to experience because you're at a different frequency.
Yeah, I was talking about this just the other day. Was it yesterday? I don't know. Time is a blur for me these days. But I was explaining, like, if you're holding these limiting beliefs and programs in your mind, that's the vibration you're actually putting out to the world. Your field is actually those thoughts and feelings and beliefs that you're having in the moment. And all of that energy precedes you. So then you're going to magnetize to you whatever your body is actually vibrating. If you look at us, like, we are energetic beings, we do have vibration and frequency, so we're vibrating that out into the world. Go ahead, you were going to say something, Ellen.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's just funny because life doesn't happen to us. I know everybody's heard that before. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't just happen for us. It literally happens through us.
Yes.
We are the ball, right? That will emanate everything that is happening within us outside of us. So this is what I tell people all the time. When you say, okay, this is what I want, and you start creating this whole list of things that you want, number one thing is going to happen that people don't understand, because you ask and you shall receive, right? Well, this is what you're receiving. You're receiving opportunity for you to be able to look within yourself how to release or dissolve these blockages that are not allowing you to see what you want. So life will bring you all these experiences that will trigger the hell out of you. And people will be like, oh my God, well, I just asked for this and I'm getting something totally different. Well, it's because they're giving you, the universe is giving you an opportunity for you to clear this so that you can see it.
Yeah. If you want this, let me show you all the things that are blocking you from actually having that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nice. So when we're working with manifestation, how would you work with a client to be able to get their vibration and their frequency to be what it needs to be in order for them to attract what they're trying to manifest?
Well, that's through the quantum enlightenment system. So when they're working with me, we're going through their blueprint, right? And once we clear out those patterns, the limiting belief patterns, the emotions that are held in their body, and they start learning the life lessons that they're meant to learn, it stops the karmic cycle from happening all over again, because now they're aware of what it is and they know how to be able to respond to it if it ever comes back again, right? Because that's a true test. How are you going to respond once it comes back? And so we're replacing those low frequency energies with high frequency energies and bringing their their higher light into their physical being. And then that's when they start creating out of the space of love versus ego. Even if what you want is like, I want money, whatever it is, if the desire to have money comes from a place of love, because that's truly what you want to experience, and you have a love-based desire to do something with it, right?
Mhm.
That's when it will come. But if it's coming out of ego because you want to prove something to yourself or prove something to others, or just have it because you want to have it, it's still ego. And so this work really allows you to settle down the ego, allow your higher spirit to be embodied in your physical vessel, which is what the ascension process is about, and then be able to create the life that you'd like to create from a different standpoint, from a different energetic standpoint, from your heart, from love, from higher wisdom, and it creates a whole new experience.
I've run into this thing, Ellen, though, like with all these different manifestation practices, that it's like, oh, don't think this way or it's not going to manifest. Or if you're coming from ego, it's not going to manifest. Or if you're only thinking about the money, it's not going to manifest. And that puts us into yet another belief system where if we're, coming from like desire for wealth and abundance, that we're not going to get it because we're not holding the light and wanting to do it in service, or for this, that, or the other. So I find that if we're bumping into those things, that we're actually creating another belief system that says, I can't have this because I want it for these reasons instead of these reasons over here, which I'm not sure about. Like, I don't really believe that, because it's just entering in a new belief system about how I have to be, and which just comes down to like self-worth. Like, if I have to be worthy enough to get this, then I can't be functioning, out of, wanting that fancy car. I have to be functioning out of, if I'm going to get that fancy car, then I better be good in order to get it.
So that's attachment. And so I'll tell you how my manifestations came without me even realizing that my manifestations were happening.
Mm-hmm.
I would think something, and because I let it go and didn't take any action and just thought it, I've released the attachment of receiving it, and I've released the attachment of even like feeling of having it, and it's come to me easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand what you're saying. And yes, that creates a whole new um belief system. And so my question is, how many people are actually thinking on that level? Oh, well, this is ego or not. A lot of people, from what I've seen,
Yeah.
don't know where they're operating from. They don't realize that it's ego. They don't realize what it is. And ego is not bad. Ego is just a way for us to be able to create here in this space, in the physicality. It's what we need. It's part of our journey. And it befriends spirit when we make that happen. And so what I was trying to say is, if somebody says, I want this, this, and that, I don't tell them, well, that's from ego and whatever. I don't say anything about it because it's not my space. What I do is my work to assist them in releasing those belief patterns that doesn't allow them to see that what they want is actually there for them. And so when we start having these ideas that, oh, it's maybe ego and whatever, we're still attaching to what it is that we want instead of getting what we actually need for our highest good.
Yes, well said, because what we get is what we inevitably need for our highest and best good. Like, we might not get what we envision, how it's going to show up, but we're going to get it. I have experienced over and over again. And when you're functioning in the quantum, we have to realize, like I talk about it in my book, Sex Magic, which is all about manifesting with your, life force energy. It already exists. You already are 100% whole within yourself for receiving whatever it is your true heart's desire is, because it is your divine birthright.
Right.
We have access to all of this.
Right. And that's, I talk about wealth and what the true meaning of wealth is. And that's pretty much what it is, right? If
Mhm.
you are embodying your higher light and are detaching from all things, no matter what it is, and allowing yourself to just be free in the moment, to go carefree, allow yourself to receive from the higher wisdom, you are already wealthy, because everything you need in your life is already going to be given to you instantaneously. There's no need to worry about needing the money to buy something, because once you put it out there that this is what what you need, it's going to be given to you one way or another. And if we release the attachment of how it's going to happen and how we're going to feel and all that other nonsense that we hear about, the manifestation process,
Yeah.
then we can actually be able to open to receive it. And that's one of the things that I love about the Quantum Enlightenment System, because I even had a client tell me the other day that she said the same thing you said. I had no idea what I was going into. I went into this program with you, not knowing what it would do and how it would work, but I just felt like this came to me, so I'm going to do it. And everything that she had desired to create came to her instantaneously. And the way her life is now is, she left her job that she didn't feel fulfilled with anymore. She has this long held dream for a while that actually manifested itself. And she also has this business she opened up a Reiki studio out of the blue, just to help people do the things that she was doing for herself, and with plant medicine and all that other stuff. And so she was just like, I didn't realize that it was going to come this fast. But as soon as I cleared my vessel and did this work, it started coming fast. And she feels more fulfilled in her life. And so those are the things that, when you release the things that are blocking you from what you want to create, or what you want to experience, I should say, then you start living a more fulfilling life, because you're following divine guidance and divine will versus any other aspects of ourselves.
Right. We get ourselves out of the way.
Yeah.
100% of the problem, because normally, like, we don't know how to surrender to the process. We don't know how to get ourselves out of the way. We think we have to be this or do that or have this or have that. And that's
Yes,
really not
because
the case.
yeah, and that comes down to trust. It comes down to, first of all, I feel like the first step in any process is always knowing who you are. If you know you are a spiritual being and that you come from God, or you are God in a physical body, whichever way you want to spin it,
Mhm.
you have that power within you. That's the very first step in anything, because now that you know that you've got this power, it shifts your perspective on how you start to receive. It shifts your perspective, because you're like, oh, okay, so if I'm powerful, then I know that I have the ability to create. I have the ability to bring to me what I need.
Mhm.
So I trust that the universe, God, and whatever is supporting me all the way through. And that's part of the life lessons that I teach. One of the life lessons is divine guidance. And so when we know we're not alone, and we know that we've got a team with us, and that we are powerful beings that are being held in that light, then we know that we are on this path, and we can trust and we can surrender. Once we surrender and trust that whatever it is that we're calling into our experience, it's going to manifest itself the way it needs to, not the way we want it to.
Mhm. I love that. You combine two things there, and I think that they each deserve a little bit more time. One, taking our power back, because for centuries we've given our power over to someone else to take care of our lives for us.
Mhm.
And two, that we have a spirit team. We have, it is a co-creation, which I talk about all the time. And I am really passionate about the first thing I said, taking our power back and putting the power back in our own hands, instead of being like, you heal me, you save me, you do this, you do that for me. And I think
Mhm.
that part of this paradigm shift right now is taking that power back, which is why we're struggling so much with the powers that be in the world right now, because they're struggling to maintain control and we're
Yeah.
struggling to take our power back. So talk a little bit about that and how that relates, to the quantum enlightenment system and what, that process of realizing like, no, we are, God incarnate. We are that fractal of light from the one consciousness living out on this planet. So we are the ones in control of ourselves instead of, having to give our power to somebody else to save us.
Yeah. So like I said, the first initial thing is learning who you are. And I I did a meditation that allowed me to be like the one and all, right? And then have that unified chakra field allowing me to be the witness of everything that was happening around me. And so if you're in the space where you realize, right, if this is sparking you when you're listening to this and you're saying, that resonates with me, you've already known that you've hit the truth with, I am more than just my body. Without the spirit, your body doesn't exist. Your body is done, right? So if you are a spirit in a physical vessel, that means that there's more to life than just being a body. There's more to life than just coming in here, doing whatever. How does karma work then? How does everything else play into its field, right? So it's understanding that if we are a spirit in a body, we get the opportunity to really experience the senses that we don't get to experience when we're in the spirit world, right? And like you said, we're fractals of it. So if you think of like this big, I'm going to say sun, if you think of like this big sun and it's exploding into small little pieces, that means that sun, quote unquote, is God. Let's just say that, right?
Mhm.
And it explodes into little pieces. Those little fractals come into us. That means that the power from the sun, small little pieces from that power came to us. And so that means that we have that power within us. So if we have that power within us, this is already now a shift that you create with your mind. Oh, I am residing in a physical vessel. That means I am not this body. I am not my emotions. I am not my thoughts. I have the power to choose what I'm creating. I have the power to choose how I want to experience my world. So when you start to realize that you have the power to choose that in itself, because you had the power to choose to come here. You had the power to choose being in a body and what body you wanted and all the other things. So if you had that opportunity to choose, that means that you have the opportunity to choose here as well. So what are you going to choose? What experiences are you going to choose? What emotions are you going to choose? How are you going to respond to things? How are you going to heal yourself? What are you choosing to do in order for you to be able to come back to your full power so that emotions don't take over you?
Mhm. Yeah. 100%, Ellen. And I think where people in society kind of, trip up on this, taking their power back and realizing they're creator beings, is that if they really did that, they would have to give up victim mentality because there would be nobody to blame but themselves.
Absolutely. And that's part of my formula, the manifestation formula.
Mhm.
It's R plus A plus C equals wealth. So R is recognizing, first of all, where you are right now. Where are you? Bring awareness to what are your current beliefs? What are your current emotions? What's your current language? How are you speaking every day? What are your current choices? Look at all of that and recognize what has been happening in your life. And then when you can bring awareness to that, it comes to the acceptance. Now you understand that all of these things you have a role in. if you're speaking language that is constantly reiterating that you cannot do something or you cannot be someone, moment to moment, we are creating. And so if every moment you're speaking the same language, you are the one who's creating that to be manifested in your reality. And so you accept the fact that this is the mirror game, right? It's the law of reflection. It's looking at everything outside of you to see what it is that you are holding inside of you, so that now you can be able to accept that and say, okay, I'm the one who created this. I'm the one who, I'm not going to say to blame, but I take responsibility for the actions and for the way my life is going now. And so you go to the next part, which is C, choice. What choices will I make now that I know that it all comes through me, so that I can manifest the desired outcome? And so when you see wealth, like I said earlier, wealth is a bigger thing than just having the financial money, the resources, the material wealth, whatever it is, the health, whatever. It's more than that. It's really coming back to taking your power back and embodying your divinity. Your true wealth source is your spirit. If you embody that, you are wealthy. Everything is going to go according to plan because you are following spirit's guidance. You are following what you are, divine will, what you are led to go through on a daily basis. And ego doesn't get in the way because they've created a relationship throughout this process to understand now ego doesn't have to worry anymore because you are in good hands. You need to show ego that look how wealthy we are now because we've been embodying the divine. Thank you so much, ego, for showing me everything. Now let's be friends and partners so that we could still create, but in a different energy.
Mm-hmm. Preach. Oh my gosh, yes. You were speaking my language. I love everything that you just said, and everybody needs to just rewind that last 10 minutes or 5 minutes and play it back again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. And it is. It's like it's not totally destroying the ego. It's learning how to come together and work as one and realize, just like you said, Ellyn, it's that co-creation. It's work,
Yeah.
having divine work through us, paying attention to our intuition, all those little nudges that we get. That is the collaboration with the universe right there.
Exactly. That's that's the thing that, like, I hear a lot of people saying that, and I used to say that too in the beginning, and then I stopped saying it because I thought, whoa, what am I teaching? That is not accurate, because I went through my experience and I learned that it's not actually the ego that you need to stop, right? The ego's not bad. The ego is part of you. That's why you came here. You came here to co-create with divine and the ego, but in a different perspective. It's a different energy altogether when you become friends with it, because ego is here to have that physical experience as well. But it's different when it comes together.
Mm-hmm. And it also leads us into that paradigm shift again that we're experiencing, where we're going from that 3D kind of sailing through that 4D emotional space and into the 5D, which is a little bit less connected to physical form. And I'm not talking like our bodies are going to change, like our bodies, the vibration's going to change, the frequency is going to up level. We're not going to lose our meat suit, right? It's a perspective. It's a perspective in thinking. We hold more light, we hold more love, we hold more acceptance. It is perspective shift. And
And we
right
hold the
here.
responsibility. It's a massive responsibility. When you said earlier, yes, a lot of people, they are afraid to get out of victim mentality because they get a free ride through it. But it also, how is it a free ride if it's hurting your head, if it's mentally I used to have this, oh my God, like overthinking craziness all the time, constant overanalyzation for everything. But once I started to let that go, and to have a different perspective and to be in a different relationship with myself, then I started to allow myself to just be in the space that I am, regardless of where it is, and just have grace for my journey and have grace for what I'm experiencing. Because whatever it is that I'm experiencing, even if it's ego based, it
Mhm.
is still part of my learning experience that I get to extract and learn from, and then move on to the next thing once I'm ready to move on to it. Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
There
of
was another
those
piece.
lessons in life, because we that's just part of the game, right? Is learning these lessons, and we're going to continue to learn the lesson until we've learned it and we are able to move on to something else. Like the universe will continue showing up exactly the way that we see it.
Exactly. And that's the other thing that I love about the quantum enlightenment system. I've incorporated how we get to move through that process. And so, like, there are 7 life lessons, right? Major life lessons that are profound to me. When I first learned about it, I literally had to incorporate that in my life and see how it actually works in order for me to fully understand it and embody it. And so everything now that I do, even with my husband's passing, what I did was looked at the emotions that I was feeling, and I immediately understood which life lessons I was working with, because each life lesson has about 3 to 6, depending on which one, emotions attached to it. So if you're experiencing certain emotion, that'll tell me, oh, okay, you're working with this life lesson. And it goes back to other situations too. You will keep getting the same type of life lesson in different formats in your life until you actually learn the lesson. And each time it gets harder and harder and harder, because it's like, all right, you didn't get it the first time. Let's make it a little bit more difficult. Okay, you didn't get it this time. Make it a little bit more difficult now. It's just, it brings more depth to it until you can finally see it. And for me, with my husband's passing, it was unconditional love. The number one big lesson that we're here to learn, right?
Mhm.
And for me to say, wow, I actually understand where that came from, because I was meditating with him and he was coming in and giving me some information, and I was feeling through and reflecting a lot on our marriage, and I realized, wow, he was just seeking love. He was just seeking love. The way he was acting and going about his time, he was just looking for love. And all the things that I used to say to him, knowing that everything's a reflection, right? Things that I said to him was really about me. And I realized the things that I said to him, those were really about me, myself.
Mm.
Wow, I was really closed off. I couldn't show my true love. I couldn't show my true emotions and how I really wanted to show him, because I was afraid that he would take advantage or reject me. And so I realized that, and at that moment when I first got it, I thought, oh my God, there was so much guilt and so much regret for not being able to be fully open to giving him what he wanted. And it made me realize that I'm going forward, going to show my true vulnerability no matter what, because unconditional love, you will give yourself no matter what, unconditionally, right? Not fearing that someone will reject you, because rejection comes from them, not you. We don't take things personally, because everything is a projection of themselves. And so when I realized I'm never going to close myself off like this ever again, because I don't want that guilt. I don't want that regret. I don't want to feel that, because it hurts a lot more to feel those emotions than to feel the unconditional love, to just give yourself and say, you know what? I know I gave myself. I know that I showed my true vulnerability. And if they couldn't accept it, then that's on them. They're not open to receive, and it's okay.
Mhm.
And you just let it go. But it feels lighter than to hold it in and then feel the guilt for not doing it.
Right. And it is all of those fears inside of us that holds us back from living full out, loving full out, going for our, like best life that we want for ourselves. It's the fear, that stops us from doing that. And when we can heal those within ourselves or push through the fears to get to the other side, then we get to that big love. We get that unconditional love. We get, that career that we've been wanting to
Mm-hmm.
manifest, or that partner we've been wanting to manifest.
Yeah, the fears are, I feel like, the true stemming of a lot of the limiting belief patterns and the emotions and everything that we're feeling, because the fears are actually stopping us from being able to trust. And that's why I said, like, if we were to really understand the truth of who we are, and then be able to integrate that and understand that and create a relationship with that part of ourselves, then we can really start to trust and be more of a witness instead of reacting, and have that, like, part of ourselves not disconnected, because we always want to be connected,
Mhm.
but also being able to see that in the rear view mirror, right? Who am I being? How am I acting? How am I showing up? And then that's how you're going to be able to create that trust in the relationship, so you can get that feedback and be able to shift from there.
Yeah, and not only in relationship, but everything in life. Say you're going for your purpose. How am I showing up for myself to live out my purpose in life or my passion?
Yeah. And there's fears around, being judged, or I don't know what other fears people may experience with that. But when you totally come into your power, then you say, you know what? I may have a fear of this, but I'm going to step into it anyway, trusting that this is what I'm meant to go through. And I'm going to learn whatever lessons are here for me. And I know that I'm going to come out of it alive, because it's just an experience that I meant to learn, and move past it. I know it's easier said than done, but that's literally the perspective that you start to gain when you clean out your vessel from a lot of these things that have been blocking you for so long, so that you can really be able to have that new perspective and new understanding of life and wisdom.
So let's break down now, like, quantum enlightenment system. What are all of the components and what are all of the steps?
So the Quantum Enlightenment System is a 7-week program. The first 4 weeks, we work on really dismantling, releasing, removing, whatever word you want to put with it. But I call it clearing out, like a computer. So we're clearing out all of the limiting belief patterns, the imprints, and the emotions that we found in the High Vibe Life Blueprint call, and then the timelines as well. And then after that is released out of the system, because now we have a cleaner vessel, we do the second part, the second phase, which is to clear out the vessel from toxins, chemicals, from foods, maybe vaccinations, um, and any cosmetics that we may have used, or anything we put on our skin, whatever the situation is. So we clear out all of that. And I actually also have a really cool machine that I have now to help people to really detoxify more of the heavy metals and any other toxins out from their blood system, their gut, that will help to amplify the results. And so the purpose of this is to help make the body stronger, to hold a massive amount of light that is the powerhouse of your living, right? So we want to be able to create a really strong body to hold the light, keep you at a higher frequency. And then the third phase, which I absolutely love, is recoding your blueprint. And so sometimes we'll get, hey, we need to activate these parts of the codes, or these codes, which are different parts of the blueprint, or depending on what your soul mission is, because part of this work is also being able to activate you so you can step fully into your soul mission. You then be able to upload new frequencies or new codes that will help you to stand more strongly in that part. And that usually comes at the end, because you're more of a cleaner vessel, you're embodying more of your light, you're getting more of the wisdom that is coming through for your highest good. And it's kind of like a story that the angels started to create for me so that I can see what it is that they're meant to really put out in the world. And it activates that portion.
I love too that you speak about the body and how it needs to acclimate, because I know whenever I just get even just a regular download from the universe, sometimes, or an upgrade, whatever you want to call it, there is a space where my body has to acclimate to the bump in frequency. And that it is a process. You have to allow yourself to integrate whatever shift your energy body has gone through.
Yes. So, a lot of the times people are quantum jumping into a new frequency. And so if the body is, um, so this is the other, this is the other part about the body. The body has certain structures in place. And so when we are really upgrading this vessel to hold more light, we also should be upgrading the template, the DNA template, the overall wiring, I should say, that is on a higher frequency so that it can help you acclimate more of your energy. And so what happens is, because energy is a fast moving particle, we still need time for it to get grounded into this physical vessel. So you get it up, coming up through the crown chakra, it comes down through the body. People may feel super high and amazing, but then, as it's same as when your body heals, this is like the healing mechanism. So as you are healing, you're also allowing the body to get ready for its new frequency, to be able to hold that frequency. Just like they say, when you're sick, you need to rest more, because the body needs that time and that space to be able to really be able to get stronger. That's how it gets stronger.
Right. If somebody wants to check out your quantum enlightenment system, what's the first step that they do to work with you, Ellyn?
Well, they can book a high vibe life blueprint call, but I'm also offering a free Akashic reading. So if they text, "I'm ready to manifest for real," or something along those lines, I'll know it's from you. And so they can text me that directly on my cell phone, and then I will send them a link so that they can schedule the free Akashic reading. And that's it. And then from there, if they decide they want to work with me, that's great, but I'm not trying to sell anything to them. I want them to connect and to feel, they get their questions answered and they get what they need. And if they feel a connection, then we can continue to work together. And if not, then it's okay. I want to give them whatever they need.
Great. So free Akashic reading, and I'll make sure that your number's down in the show notes. And then
Perfect.
for people, do you have a website or something that they can go through, or say they want to jump right in and do this high vibe blueprint call? How do they
Yeah.
find that?
They can go on my website, and it's catalytichealing.com. And there'll be a link there to book a high vibe life blueprint call.
Great.
Right now, for a limited time, I am offering it complimentary, but that's going to change in a couple of days. So if they get it beforehand, then they got lucky. But they will be able to pay for it as well. The price is going to be $222, and if they do end up paying for it, I will give them a discounted rate if they mention that they came from Raise the Vibe with Liz.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellyn. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I love to ask my guests before you go, what is a jewel of wisdom that you would like to leave our listeners with today?
I want them to really know that the power to choose is the most important part of process and living and really experiencing life.
Yes, the power of choice is real. Thank you so much, Ellyn. It's been a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a beautiful conversation. I'm so excited to be here with you and to help whoever is ready for this quantum leap.
Awesome. Everybody take advantage of it. Get that free Akashic reading. And hey, if you're ready, jump into that high vibe blueprint call. I recommend it. Thank you, Ellyn. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for joining me again. I'm Liz Peterson, and this is Raise the Vibe with Liz. And you can find me everywhere at Raise the Vibe with Liz on social media and raisethevibewithliz.com. Thank you, everyone. And remember to get out there and raise the vibe. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.